The latest Pokemon game, Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, takes place in the Paldea region. After only a few minutes exploring this region, you can tell that this region takes a lot of inspiration from Spanish influence, and that includes the cuisine that you see in the game. Eating the various foods in Pokemon will provide special buffs. You can just whip up a simple sandwich with random ingredients, or you can go to the many restaurants across the Paldea region and try some of the local flavor. One such dish is the Paella de Paldea, a specialty that I will be attempting to recreate today. Please consider subscribing for more food content, and if there's anything else from Pokemon Violet and Scarlet you'd like to see me recreate, let me know. But without further ado, let's begin. Let's start off by prepping the vegetables. Dice an onion, then a bell pepper. I chose a red bell pepper to keep the same color scheme as seen as the image, and mince a few garlic cloves. Putting all this into a food processor is also an option that can save time as well. If you own a paella pan, please use that, but for those who do not own a paella pan, a large skillet can be an alternative as well. Preheat the skillet on medium heat and add oil. Once the oil has been heated, add the onions, peppers, and garlic in and cook, stirring for about 5 minutes until the onions become translucent. Next, pour in tomato sauce, salt, black pepper, smoked paprika, and saffron. You could use whole tomatoes and crush them instead of the sauce if you prefer as well. Stir and cook for another 5 minutes. Pour the white wine in, stir and cook for about 10 minutes until a large amount of the liquid has evaporated. At this step, I would take a quick taste to see how the seasoning is. Add more seasoning as necessary, but the next step does require broth, so if you're using a salted broth, keep that in mind. A quick note, I did not add any seafood into the paella on camera because the Pokemon version of the paella did not show any solids within the paella, but adding seafood such as shrimp, scallops, or calamari is recommended. If you plan on using any of those, add it here. Add Spanish rice, stir to coat with all the flavor that is in the pan. Drop in a few bay leaves and add the broth of your choice. I'm using chicken, but you could use vegetable broth or a seafood broth as well. At this point in the cooking process, you do not want to stir the rice at all. If you need to move the rice, shake the pan a few times to get everything leveled. After all of the broth has been added and the rice is leveled, reduce the heat to medium-low and let it cook for 15 to 20 minutes, shaking the pan a few times. Here was about the 10-minute mark for me. You can see a small mistake I made. You can see a majority of the peppers are focused in a line down the middle of the paella. I should have stirred the rice and aromatics more thoroughly, but it's not a huge issue. If the rice seems undercooked, add a bit more broth and let the paella cook for another few minutes. After the rice has been fully cooked, remove the bay leaves and let's move on to the toppings. Nestle mussels across the paella, spread halved cherry tomatoes and sliced olives on top of the paella and around the mussels. Remove from the heat, cover the pan with a lid and let residual heat up the toppings and mussels for about 10 minutes. The final step is to add slices of lemon around the edges of the pan as a garnish, and that completes the Paella de Paldea from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. As I mentioned before, I added more seafood after recording as I think the image is a bit too lacking in protein for me. However, this is a delicious dish and I'm quite proud of how it turned out. Hope that y'all enjoyed and let me know what y'all think. Please consider subscribing and checking out my other cooking videos too. I'll see y'all in the next one.